I'm still trying to puzzle through Dom's apology that he posted on his YouTube video, but Zachary posted the truth of Dom Brack, and they're friends, so there's always three sides, more than one side to a story. So yeah, this was actually recommended by Taylor. Shout out to you. And yeah, just an ordinary kid, I think, also recommend this as well. So we're going to listen to Zachary's story before we go back over Dom. And you guys tell me which apology sounds sincere or sound like it's the truth. So yeah, like, subscribe, turn on your bell, and yeah, let's see what's going on with this.
Walk away, you turn me on like a light switch.
Zachary's part of the story.
Okay, I did not think I was gonna have to make a video like this, and I actually didn't even want to, but after being involved in this situation and seeing everything firsthand, I feel like I have like an obligation to come forward and speak the truth. And especially after, Dom, your weak attempt at an apology and how you victimized yourself and also while doing that disregarded all of Sofie's feelings and everything. I just feel like I had to come forward and say something. Especially because Sofie's going through a lot right now, and I don't feel like she should have to explain herself. And it hurts that this all had to happen, but you know, I have to do what I think is right. I caught Dom in the act of cheating 2 separate times in the relationship. Once was early on, and the second time was a little bit further into the relationship after they had already gone public. In an attempt to kind of give him the benefit of the doubt, you know, because he was my friend, I tried to give him advice. I was like, hey man, this isn't how you treat a girl. This isn't how you should be handling this situation. You tell me you love her, so you should act that way. But even while giving him advice, I was still so conflicted because my relationship with Sofie was also growing. You know, I was becoming her friend. And as my friendship with her continued to grow, my guilt grew like even more. I felt like I was carrying Dom's burden with me because I felt almost like an accomplice. So on the night of her birthday in 2021, she kept on telling me how happy she was with Dom, how she was head over heels in love with him, and this just like was eating me alive. The guilt was just getting stronger and stronger, and so on that night of her birthday, I told her the entire truth. I told her everything I had witnessed, all the things Dom had done during their relationship, and understandably, she started crying and ran away from the party. And so, of course, I went after her in an attempt to comfort her because I had just dropped a huge bomb on her.
Yeah, you shouldn't tell her on the birthday though. Couldn't you tell her like day after? Yo.
And so I go and I sit down with her and we're talking about it. I'm trying to cool her down and explain things. During the time when we're sitting there,
like
Dom comes looking for her, as he would. And he sees that she's crying and he's confused. He's wondering, okay, well, what happened? What happened? And Sofie kind of shrugs him off, kind of like an F you, like don't talk to me type thing, right? She goes inside back to the party and I sit Dom down. And I try explaining what happened. I go, hey man, like, I told her everything. I told her the truth. She knows now. You can still come clean. You can still move past this. You just gotta be honest with her, and maybe she'll forgive you. Before I even could finish explaining this to him, he stood up on his feet and he just knocked me the fuck out. He just hit me as hard as he could. I'm dazed, I'm on the concrete, I'm like, what just happened? He runs back inside to go try to get to her and comfort her. I actually took a Snapchat of my face the morning after this all went down, and I'm gonna show that to you right now. In hindsight, I admit it was a terrible idea to drop a bomb like that on someone on their birthday, but it was just a buildup of the guilt and emotions that I was feeling, and I felt like I had to come clean. And you know, I didn't talk to them, either of them, for a little while. I kind of gave them space and figured maybe they were working things out. I didn't really want to talk to Dom because he had just struck me in the face. But then I found out over the course of a couple weeks, he had been telling people that I was crazy.
What?
I was a compulsive liar. I made everything up. And that hurt me. I was like, how could you even get away with that? And because of Sofie's infatuation with Dom, she obviously believed him. She took his word for it, as you do when you're with someone. And I didn't blame her for that, and I still don't blame her for that at all. After all of this happened, I actually just felt like there was no more room for me to say anything. Like I felt like my words didn't really hold any weight, and Dom had gotten so good at lying to people that I felt like the truth didn't even compare. So for the course of about a year, I was just the boy who cried wolf. I tried to move past the situation. I tried to let it go in hopes that maybe Dom learned from his mistake and maybe he actually wasn't cheating on Sofie anymore. Maybe he was actually being the boyfriend he was supposed to be from the very beginning. After a little while, you know, I kind of rekindled the friendship with both Dom and Sofie, and we all kind of seemed to just move past it, and everything seemed to be going great. Up until about a month ago. I got a phone call from my friend Will telling me that he had a friend that was at a concert, and Dom was also at this concert making out with another girl. So we asked this girl to get photo evidence, if she can, of Dom with
What?
this female.
They even have all the pictures, yo. Dog like hugging the girl kissing him on the neck, and what the hell? What the hell?
At the concert. Oh yeah, not to mention, this is all happening while Sofie's in New York looking at her bunny billboard that he didn't even go with her to look at. When Sofie came back from her trip from New York, I went over to her house and I told her everything. I had concrete evidence and I showed it to her, and I figured there's absolutely no way Dom could manipulate this situation like he did a year ago. I have a snippet audio of a conversation that Sofie had with a girl that Dom cheated on her with, and out of respect for this girl, I'm not gonna say her name. And I also want to put out there that she didn't actually know that Dom and Sofie had a real relationship at the time, because Dom had told her that it was all for views and it was fake.
We all start talking. I have not talked to Dom one-on-one in a year. I don't know anything about his current life at all. I asked him if you were a real relationship or not, so I was just curious on if it was real or if it wasn't. And he tells me straight to my face.
It was definitely real, but just so you know.
And so he said to me, he was like, no, it is all for views. It was all fake. And I didn't think he would lie to me about that. Later in the night, we hooked up, and I had absolutely no idea. And if I ever did, I would have never done that. And I am so sorry.
Like, I'm serious. I'm not mad at you about that at all.
Now, obviously, there's plenty of details that Dom and Sofie worked out on their own that I'm not in a place to talk about. But this is just from my perspective, what I've seen and the facts that I do know. With that said, Dom, I'd like to say that you're better than this, but I think we both know that that's not true.
What? This crazy though. I'm just saying, Dom, that's like, no dude, that's crazy. But yeah, I'm going to still go over his story, because there's always a few sides to our story, and I think that's best for me to do. So yeah, let me pull up Dom's. He said, I'm sorry. That's what the video is named. So yeah, let's go over this video to see what's going on. This is going to be crazy though.
I'm sure you guys have a ton of questions, so I'm basically just making this video to explain myself and what was going on my end, so that you guys aren't so in the dark about this. I'm sure most of you guys know about the drama that's been surrounding me and my ex-girlfriend Sofie. Before I say anything else, I just want to say I am so sorry to Sofie. Sofie's literally the sweetest girl I have ever met, and she did not deserve any of this. She has literally been nothing but perfect to me this entire relationship. When me and Sofie started dating about 1.5 years ago, I had absolutely no idea it was going to be this long term. I met Sofie when I was 16 years old, and she was a few years older than me, and we were obviously in very different points in our life. When our relationship started to get a little bit more serious, that is when social media found out, and you guys loved us as a couple, which was great, but also put a ton of pressure on the relationship. As time went on, I felt I was too young and too immature to be in a relationship this serious at such a young age. When this started to really freak me out, I tried to do what I should have done, and I went to her house and I tried to end the relationship. However, I definitely could have done a better job on my part of explaining the whole situation to her, because on her end it seemed very out of the blue why I was trying to break up with her, and completely random, because there's no way that she could have known how or why I felt this way, because again, we were in different points in our life. On top of that, Sofie was literally the perfect girlfriend, so it was really hard to explain to her that I just wasn't ready to be this committed to somebody.
He's not ready to be committed because he wants to explore by dating other people, because that's the only reason I'm getting out of what he's saying. So basically he wants to see other people before he actually settles with her. So because he didn't get the opportunity to, he cheated. That's crazy.
Before I was even 18. Throughout that conversation, she ended up actually convincing me to stay, and I hate myself every day for not just being a man and breaking it off when I knew I should have. But also in the back of my mind, I kind of knew without a concrete reason of why we were breaking up. I didn't know what the hell I was going to tell you guys, because you know, as our relationship went on, the Dopey fans were getting stronger and stronger, and you guys loved us. After that conversation, we just continued to date like none of that happened. But just because we didn't talk about it didn't mean I stopped feeling that way. Don't get me wrong, Sofie was literally my best friend, so I loved hanging out with her, and we made so many amazing memories that I'm never gonna regret, and I'm always gonna remember. But
You don't cheat
this
on your
was
best
when,
friend, dude.
you know, being too immature and not ready started to affect our relationship negatively. I felt trapped in our relationship, and I made some choices that I am always gonna regret. There are absolutely no excuses for what I did. There are so many better ways that I could have
understand
approached the
the trap
situation.
part,
But again,
though.
I was young and stupid, and I should have just broken it off when I had the chance. I feel absolutely horrible because Sofie did not deserve this at all. She was nothing but perfect to me the entire relationship. She was the sweetest girl ever. She did not deserve this. I do not deserve her. And Sofie, if you're watching this, I am truly so sorry. After what happened,
His
I
apology
was
is
kind of
so
expecting
dry.
Sofie just to cut me off and never talk to me again. But she decided she wanted to give me a second chance. So I took it. But after a couple of weeks of trying to rekindle our relationship,
Wait. So after you cheated on her with the blondie, she took you back? So she's trying to rekindle everything. So you're telling me you didn't apologize and try to mend the relationship. If you realize that it was going that badly, why didn't you guys just take a break to know if that's to figure out your feelings? She forgave you, and you take the opportunity to hurt her again?
realized that there's no way it was gonna work, and we ended up officially parting ways. The way things ended were actually very mature and respectable. We had a couple long conversations about it, and we both agreed that I need to grow up a bit and that I wasn't mature enough to be in this relationship, and we left it off as still friends. I do not blame her for being upset at me or mad at all. I just felt the need to make this video because obviously in her video she didn't actually explain any of the information. Again, I'm not trying to make any excuses for myself. I know that I'm completely in the wrong. I should have known I wasn't ready to be in a serious relationship, and I should have broken it off when I had the chance. I was selfish and immature, and it resulted in me hurting somebody that I care about a lot. To all the Dopey fans out there, I also want to say I'm so sorry. I know you expected more of me. I'm still growing and maturing as a person, and having tens of millions of eyes on your high school relationship at 17 was just not at all something I was ready for, and as a result I hurt so many people, and for that I am so sorry. I would also like to apologize to my friends, my family, and AMP. I want it to be clear that I am fully responsible for my actions. Nobody else should be blamed for any of this. I'm gonna stay off social media for a little bit and just kind of focus on myself because I feel like that's what I need to do. I would really appreciate if you guys could just give me some space and some privacy while I navigate through this part of my life. Again, I'm so sorry to everybody this affected, and a huge sorry to Sofie. You deserve so much better than this.
Yeah, but dude, you cheated on her and you tried to rekindle after. Why didn't you just give it a break though, dude? If you know that you were going to cheat, why didn't you just end it? It's not hard to end a relationship. I know that it's going to be hard, but you should have at least asked to get some space to figure out some things or something. But basically that's just an interest for a person that wants to cheat. But that's not the point, dude. I don't know if I can believe that, yo. I love Dom videos too, but Sofie was my number one. But I'm not picking Sofie over Dom because of, but the different angles of everything is just so confusing. Guys, tell me what you thinking down in the comment section. Click like, subscribe if you haven't already, and yeah, love you guys. Until next time.